Transcription number 16, volume number first, dictation at the rate 100 word per minute. We ready? Start. The next question that I would like to deal with is the paragraph in the President's address relating to the progress made in our economy, in our agricultural sector, in our industrial sector. Stop please. Stop please. In our foreign trade, etc. Sir, you were pleased to read out to us a very large list of the achievements of the Congress government during the last decade and the important targets which have been achieved during the last 10 years of our planned economy. You also mentioned the question of increase in food production, increase in the production of agriculture, commodities, etc. Fortunately, sir, here we have in our midst the ex-deputy chairman of the Planning Commission, Sri V.T. Krishnavasri, who has addressed a number of meetings and seminars in New Delhi, recently drawing our attention to the weakness in our agricultural sector. If the press reports are correct, in one seminar he mentioned that even if all the targets of the third 5-year plan are achieved, still at the end of the third 5-year plan period, we may be facing a serious situation regarding the supply of agricultural commodities. He has also expressed the hope that we will be able to exceed the targets which have been fixed for the third 5-year plan. I do not know whether his expectation of exceeding the targets will be fulfilled or not, but it is quite clear that we have not been able to give sufficient attention to the development of the agricultural sector. It has also been stated that development of the agricultural sector is one of the most difficult tasks which have been found difficult both by democratic countries as well as by countries in which total planning is going on. It is all the more reason, therefore, that we should pay more attention to the agricultural sector so that it may be possible for us to meet our requirements and as and when arise and the situation which he has foreseen at the end of the third 5-year plan may not materialize. It is no use merely taking refuge behind some of the figures which have been compiled and narrating the progress which has already been achieved. We are happy that some progress has been achieved, but we are anxious that more progress should be there, and for that purpose, also certain definite steps will be taken. In this connection, I am also happy to hear what the defense minister said yesterday in one of his public meetings namely that the government of India is contemplating to create a setup in our villages wherein our panchayats will be functioning more or less on the lines of parliament. Unfortunately, he did not elaborate that point further, and the press has not thrown any more light on what that exactly means. But if it means that the panchayats will be in charge of the resources that are available in the villages, that they will be in a position to determine how best the productive efforts in the villages are to be directed and in what direction determine what targets are to be achieved, and when the production is there and there is a surplus to be exchanged with other centers in the country, that the panchayats will have their say in the matter on what terms this surplus will be exchanged with other centers in the country. Then I think a very valuable step forward in the direction of building our economy on a decentralized basis will have been taken. We have always taken the view, sir, that if planning is to succeed in our country and if there is not going to be any resignation of our productive activity and forces, what is necessary is that a common man should have a voice in determining the economic policies and in formulating the economic plans of development, and should have also his say in determining on what terms a village or a group or an industry should be working for the development of economy as a whole. In other words, some amount of competition, some amount of bargaining power is to be generated in the lowest strata of our society and in the lowest rung of our economy, so that with the help of that bargaining power under the overall influence and policy of the planning commission, it may be possible for us to develop our economy in a manner which satisfies both the interests and the requirements of the nation as well as the aspirations of the people. When people feel that they also have their say in the formulation of policies and programs, and that such policies and programs are not something which is deducted from New Delhi but are those which have been worked out by their own efforts and as a result of their own deliberations. To that extent, these plans are at a of their efforts in the constant development of their regions, of their own crafts, their own industries, and their own skills. Full stop. Next para, transcription number 17. Mr. Vice Chairman, I rise to associate myself fully with the resolution and the concern which has been expressed from all the various sections of the House regarding the urgent necessity of developing rural industries. As time passes by, we are reaching a situation in our rural areas where something desperate needs to be done immediately if we want to preserve the social stability of the country and also to see that full use is made of the time and talent of the people in the rural areas which go waste today. As has been pointed out in the resolution, sir, the Planning Commission and the Government of India have applied their minds to the various isolated aspects of rural industries and some valuable reports have been published and some important recommendations have been made in these reports which need consideration. But unfortunately, there is no high level decision regarding the various issues which face the country as far as the program of rural industrialization is concerned. We are not quite clear as to what first of all, rural industries mean and what rural industrialization implies. Does rural industrialization mean the utilization of local resources in order to meet the local needs? Or does rural industrialization imply the creating of surplus in the rural areas which could be exchanged with the surplus in other centers of the country and thereby create a richer life for the rural areas. Various opinions have been expressed with regard to this program, but there is no authoritative determination of the policy regarding the meaning of rural industrialization. It has been suggested that if such import of capital and skill from urban centers were to mean merely the multiplication of industrial centers in the rural areas, such as industrialization of the rural areas would nullify the advantages that are likely to accrue as a result of the rural industrialization. The time has come when some decision has to be taken as to what we really mean by this rural industrialization. These there is also difference of opinion regarding the authority that should undertake the responsibility for this rural industrialization from the literature that has been published in this connection. It is quite obvious that two distinct and powerful schools have developed regarding this issue. On the one hand, there are people who believe that the task of rural industrialization should be entrusted to the village panchayats since they represent the village people and they have the resources and the powers to raise the necessary resources from the rural areas. The panchayats, it is felt, are the competent authorities to deal with the program of rural industrialization. Equally strongly, it has been argued by others that cooperatives are the right answer to the question as to which should be the authority that should deal with rural industrialization. I may also mention that there is a third school which believes that the import of private capital and private skill into the work of rural industrial development is the real answer to the problem which we face in the matter of rural industrialization. Here again, some authoritative determination of the policy has become necessary because, in the absence of such a policy, ad hoc decisions are taken which sometimes cancel each other, and therefore the rapid progress which we hope and wish for in the rural industrialization becomes impossible. Then again, there is the further question of protection that may be necessary for rural industries in view of the lack of the internal economy from which rural industries would suffer. Whatever may be the answer to the first two questions, Professor Malkani has already referred to this question and various suggestions have been put forward, but all these suggestions require some detailed consideration as there are a large number of difficulties in implementing any one of these suggestions. Demarcation of markets and the imposition of taxes in order to see that the goods from the urban centers do not reach the rural centers in unfairly competitive conditions are some of the suggestions that have been made. One great advantage of a vast country is the large number of markets that are available for the goods that are produced in the country. However, if these markets are artificially restricted and goods are not allowed to move from one center to another, I am afraid more problems would be raised than solved if this protection is sought to be given in this matter. Yet protection has to be given to the rural industries if these rural industries are to develop. Therefore, serious and competent thinking is necessary in this connection, and again time is running fast. Therefore it is desirable that we should have some authority which could examine the various issues involved and determine the policy with regard to this matter also. Full stop.